Welcome to the subject software engineering. We are studying chapter requirement engineering process. In this chapter, we are studying requirement elicitation and analysis. Study requirement discovery. So today's topic, that is requirements discovery. Point number 1. Requirements discovery is the process of gathering information about the proposed and the existing system and distilling the user and system requirements from this information. So students, requirement discovery is a process of collecting information regarding the proposed and the existing system and separating the user and system requirements from this information. Point number 2. Sources of information during the requirements discovery phase include documentation, system, stakeholders, and specification of similar system. So the sources from which we can collect the information is documentation available, system stakeholders opinion, and similar systems specification that is available. Point number 3. The techniques of requirement discovery include viewpoints, interviewing, scenarios, use cases, structured analysis method, and system prototyping. So the techniques of requirement discovery are viewpoints, interview, scenarios, use cases, structured analysis method, and system prototyping. We shall consider viewpoints, interviewing, scenarios, and use cases which are part of our study. So first point, that is viewpoints. The requirements sources such as stakeholders, domain, system can all be represented as viewpoints. Each viewpoint provides a fresh perspective on the system, but these perspectives are not completely independent. They often overlap as they have common requirements. So students, viewpoints are nothing but looking at the system from one's point of view. He could be anyone, okay, but as there are different viewpoints, so the requirements may be similar, that is they may overlap. So we should understand these aspects also. A key strength of viewpoint-oriented analysis is that it recognizes multiple perspectives. Yes, the important aspect of viewpoint is that it considers everybody's opinion, that is multiple perspective. Point number 2. And it also provides a framework for discovering conflicts in the requirements proposed by different stakeholders. Students, as you know, when you consider viewpoints, we are looking from everybody's angle or everybody's opinion. In this case, if there are any conflicts as far as requirement proposed by different stakeholders, that can be identified. Point number 3. Viewpoints can be used as a way of classifying stakeholders and other sources of requirements. So, with the help of viewpoints, you can classify stakeholders and other sources of requirements. Let us consider next types of viewpoints. Students, there are 3 generic types of viewpoints. They are interactor viewpoint, indirect viewpoints, and domain viewpoints. Now we'll consider interactor viewpoint. Interactor viewpoints represent people or other systems that interact directly with the system. So, interactor viewpoints is nothing but the people or other system who directly come or use services of the system. For example, in the bank ATM system, bank's customers and bank's account database are the direct user of the ATM services. So these qualify to be interactor viewpoints. Point number 2. Indirect viewpoints. These represent stakeholders who do not use the system themselves but who influence the requirement in some way. So students, indirect viewpoints are the category of people who do not use the system but influence the system. For example, in the bank ATM system, management of the bank and bank security staff are indirect viewpoints. As you know, management of the bank and bank security are not direct beneficiaries, but they influence. Third category, as you know, is domain viewpoints. These represent domain characteristics and constraints that influence the system requirements. For example, in the bank ATM system, the standards that have been developed for interbank communication happen to be domain viewpoints because the standards influence the development of a ATM bank system. These viewpoints provide different types of requirements. Interactor viewpoints provide detailed system requirements covering the system features and interfaces. Point number 3. Indirect viewpoints are more likely to provide higher level organizational requirements and constraints. Point number 4. Domain viewpoints normally provide domain constraints that apply to the system. So important viewpoints, as you know,